Hare Krishna. Tonight's theme from the Bhagavad Gita is called Feeling Sinful. So in Kali Yuga, of course, we're born in Ichadvesha Sumutina Dvandva Mohena Bharata. We're born overcome by the dualities of desire and hate. We're born with what is called negative samskaras. As the famous Beatle John Lennon said, most of us were conceived off of a bottle of whiskey. So in this Kali Yuga, colored Dosha Nide Rajan, it's an ocean of difficulties. Dosha means difficulty or miseries. So when reflecting on feeling sinful, most of the Western civilization and the human beings are born into delusion, overwhelmed by the dualities of desire and hate. Ichadvesha sumutina dvandva mohena bharata samoham sarvabhutani. They're born in delusion, overwhelmed by these dualities of desire for material pleasures. Parabhavas tavada bodha jato yavanya jigyasata atmatadvam. In the fifth canto, Rishabhadev describes that people are facing nothing but defeat. Parabhavas tavada bodha jato yavanya jigyasata atmatadvam. We were born into the illusion of identifying with this material body. I am the body. That the whole material world is going on with this combination of sense desire. Pumsos trio maituni bhavametam. The movie industry, the novels, the industry of literature, all nonsense, how to enjoy this romantic relationship, male-female. And we see that people's idols in Hollywood or Bollywood, they come together for some time, they enjoy their senses, but because they don't realize that they are atmatadvam, they don't have any understanding of the truth of who they are, they meet with defeat. So the problem is sinful activities is influenced by the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. And Krishna tells Arjuna in the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that the most sinful of all desires, the most sinful of all activities is this sin of lust. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajaguna samudbhava. Born of the mode of passion, lust, which leads to anger and frustration. Krishna tells Arjuna in the third chapter, Kamesha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapna. Mahashana means the great sinful enemy of the world. We see that even Arjuna was saying that if he kills all these warriors, then the women become unprotected. And then there will be a consequence of unwanted population, Varna Shankara. So we know that in this age of Kali, people are born without any proper spiritual consciousness, any God consciousness, and therefore they're known as Varna Shankara, or unwanted population. And Krishna tells Arjuna, therefore, this is the sinful enemy of the world, the great sinful enemy of the world, lust. Here the theme is feeling sinful. And when we look at all the various references here, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 9, chapter 10, and chapter 14, and then chapter 18, it's describing about the uncontrolled mind, which is more or less the central headquarters for the senses. Just like Maharaj Puranjana In the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami describes the Maharaj Puranjana. Narada Muni is speaking to Prachina Barishat, Maharaj Prachini Barishat, and Maharaj Prachini Barishat is a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj, very great devotee of the Lord, disciple of Narada Muni. So Narada Muni was preaching to Prachina Barishat that, you're engaging in so many fruitive activities. You're killing so many animals and offering them in the fire yagyas, which was practiced many, many millennia ago. And many of those sacrifices are not perfect. And so those animals, they don't come back rejuvenated. And they're looking from the sky at Maharaj Prachina Barishat to lodge revenge on him after he dies, because Hani Hani Bhutani Gachantiya Yamalayam. At the time of death, every living entity has to go to the courtyard of Lord Yamaraj. Gachantiya Yamalayam. Sheshastavaramicchanti Kimascharamattaparam. So Maharaj Yudhisthira is saying that the greatest wonder in the world is no one knows that after the time of death, there is a judgment on all one's sinful activities. Maharaj Prachina Barishat was encouraged by Narada Muni to give up these Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, which deals with ritualistic activities for materialistic gain and materialistic benefit, which isn't actually the goal of human life, which is to develop our love for God, love for Krishna. So he described the Maharaj Puranjana, a king. He discovered a city of 9 gates. And he went into the city, and in the center of the city was a beautiful garden full of varieties of fruits and flowers. This is a metaphor or an analogy describing how the living entity becomes overwhelmed by this garden of desires, material desires. And these desires are due to the misconception that I am the body. The mode of passion influences pritak vinati yajganam nanabhavam pritak vidam veti sarveshu bhuteshu tadganam rajasam smitam. One who is influenced by Lord Shiva's wife, by the 3 modes of nature, she influences the living entity to become illusioned by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And in the mode of passion, this verse explains that one sees and judges everyone according to artificial or superficial designations like Christian, black, white, American, Indian, Catholic, Muslim, Hindu. These are all to do with the body, or called upadis, or misconceptions of life relating to the body. Nana bhavam pritak vidam veti sarveshu bhuteshu. The living entity is actually one within the many, one soul within many different varieties. Even the tree, butterfly, insect, aquatics, they're all spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So Maharaj Pratini Barisha was encouraged by Narada Muni to follow the path of knowledge and renunciation, to cultivate knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Being, that is called Bhakti Yoga, and therefore to destroy the enemy of the soul, which is this material desires like lust, greed, hate, and so on, which are considered by the great acharyas. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, that the headquarters of this lust and material desire is lodged within the mind. And the mind is made up of the false ego, the ahankara, the intelligence or the buddhi, and the mana, the mind. So the senses are controlled by the materialistic intelligence, false ego, and mind. Those are the subtle parts of the material body. The gross parts are earth, water, fire, and air. So, driven by these desires, Maharaj Puranjana tried to enjoy for many years. He met a beautiful woman in this city of Nine Gates, which is compared to lusty or materialistic intelligence. Therefore, the process of purification is given by Krishna throughout the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto. Become my devotee and think of me. Fix your mind on me. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Worship me. So we go to the temple and worship Krishna in his Archa Vigraha form. And namaskuru, we also offer our respects and obeisances and dandavats to the Lord's Vigraha as well as to the Lord's representative, the great Acharya. And the devotees as well, we offer respects to them as well. Panchakalpatarubhyascha. We associate with devotees and we reject the association of non-devotees. We take shelter of the great acharyas and follow in their footsteps, following in the footsteps of the great devotees. So that in that way we become purified and we're able to control this burning desire to enjoy the senses, which is being dictated by the mind. So in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is complaining to Krishna that Bandhurat manastasya atmanajita. He says, Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam. He says the mind is always just pushing and pulling and dragging the soul or the conditioned soul here and there to try to enjoy prestige, power, fame, material opulence, material sense gratification, all of the above. And how can I control this raging mind? He says, Vayureva is like the wind, Vayu. It's very powerful, just like we see the hurricane, the typhoons. They destroy villages, they destroy cities, they destroy everything in their path. So Vayu is very, very powerful. And Arjuna says, it is more difficult to control the mind than the blowing of the wind. Vaireva suduskura, very difficult. However, when one takes shelter of the Guru Parampara, the Sampradaya, then there is shelter. Samashutaye padapalava plavam mahatpadam punya yisho marari. Bhavam bhuvir vatsa padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. That the material world is like an ocean of danger. There's danger at every step. Padam padam yad vipadam. There's danger at every step in this world. However, if one takes shelter of the bona fide Guru Parampara, the Sampradaya, coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's God himself, the Madhava Gaudiya, Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is very active today throughout the world, represented by the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which was inaugurated by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and established and registered in 1966 in the city of New York. So if we follow the great acharyas, they will empower us to overcome these sinful desires. And of course, Krishna says, Sarvadhamam parichaja mamikam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Don't worry, Arjuna. Just give up all your misconceptions of life, all your so-called religious conceptions. I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Brahmin, I'm a Kshatriya, I'm from this caste. These are all misconceptions. And just surrender to Krishna. Just say from today on, Krishna, I am yours. And Krishna says, Machita sarva durgani, if you become fully conscious of me, then I'll remove all the obstacles in your life. Mat prasada tarishyasi, I will remove all the obstacles in your life. Cetasa sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matpara. Give up everything and become conscious of me. Everything we do it for Lord Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat johosi dadasi yat tapaspasi kunteya tat kurushva mad arpanam. Krishna tells Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you offer and give away in charity, whatever austerities you perform, whatever you do it as in the mood of devotion, as an offering to me, and then you'll become free from all sinful reactions. So this is what it means to surrender to Krishna. 24 hours a day, always glorifying Krishna, always serving Krishna, and always following in the footsteps of the great acharyas by being very careful who we associate with. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpaniyamagraha janasangaschalolyam cha sadvir bhaktir panashyati. That the 6 things to avoid are collecting more than you need, eating more than you should, being too absorbed and preoccupied with material topics, material gossips, just material things in general, topics, prajalpa, not following the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga strictly, or following the rules and regulations just how mechanically without seeing how to develop Vaishnava qualities, develop the spirit of Vaishnavism, the spirit of devotion, the spirit of humility, the spirit of compassion, and so on. Niyamagraha, so many people become very proud. Look at me, I'm following these principles of Dharma. I'm so austere. I don't, I don't do this and I don't do that. I perform so much tapasya without really trying to cultivate one's prema bhakti, one's love towards the lotus feet of the devotees and Krishna. Tadiyanam, those persons who are serving Krishna are known as Tadiyanam. And Lord Shiva says they should be worshipped. Even they're not very advanced, we should worship them. Tadiyanam tadarchanam. Shiva tells Parvati. So these are the principles. Jana Sangas, why should we accept the association of materialistic people? Teshu asanteshu mudeshu kanditatmashu asadushu sangam nakuryat chocheshu yoshit krida migeshu cha. Lord Kapila says the one should reject the association of a coarse and grotesque fool who is bereft of knowledge of self-realization. Asanteshu mudeshu, a coarse fool who is bereft of the process of self-realization. Asanteshu mudeshu, teshu asanteshu mudeshu, kanditavasu. Asadushu, he is the opposite of saintly. He's full of materialistic and wicked desires and wicked mentality for enjoying the material world, exploiting others, happy to see others suffer, envious of others, always pursuing sinful activities. Asanteshu mudeshu kanditatmasu asadishu sangam nakuryat chotishu. Such a person's association, sangam na kuryat chotishu, should be never ever pursued or accepted. Yoshit krida migeshu cha, because he's simply a dancing dog in the hands of materialistic men who are fond of women and sense gratification. Yoshit krida migeshu cha. Mrigoshu cha means a toy dog, play dog, a play puppy in the hands of materialistic men and women. So that verse is by Lord Kapila in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavad Purana. And the devotee is like a yogi. He controls the mind and senses. So this is real yoga. The yogi has to control his mind just as if it was an unchaste wife. Nityam dadati kamasya chidam cham anuyeraya. Yoginam kritam maitrasya. So spiritual life means yoga, bhakti yoga, engaging in devotional service to the Lord, and therefore keeping the mind chaste. In this verse, it says that the mind is unchaste and untrustworthy. In this particular verse, it's describing that the person has to keep the mind under control. Ultimately, this theme leads us to understand the conclusion, 1866, very famous verse, and everyone who has read Bhagavad Gita knows this verse. Sarva dharman prityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Krishna says, I accept all sinful reactions. In fact, Krishna accepts all pious or impious reactions because here in the material world, pious, impious, it's all inauspicious. Srila Prabhupada says, pious, auspicious, inauspicious, what does that mean? There's nothing here but birth and death. It's a place of danger. At every step there's danger. This is the kingdom of Maya. It is the kingdom of Maya where there's simply so many miseries inflicted upon us so that we can come to our senses and inquire, what is the truth of life? What is the absolute truth? Who am I? And how do I fulfill the purpose of human life? So this is the Bhagavad Gita. So we thank you very much for hearing from the Gita on the theme, which is feeling sinful. Thank you. Hare Krishna.